Hi, Caleb from Brown House here, and in today's quick tip, I'm going to show you how to disassemble or field strip, do maintenance on, and reassemble your BRN4 upper. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. The first thing we're going to do, if you're familiar with the AR-15 field strip, a lot of this is going to seem pretty familiar to you. If not, no big deal. So all we're going to do here, pull back on our charging handle, and then we can grab our bolt carrier group. We're going to slide that out and set that down. Alright, for the charging handle, we just pull it as far back as it'll go and then push down, and that'll come right out. Alright, so from here, I'm going to go ahead and stop with the upper. I'm going to disassemble this bolt carrier group, then we'll remove the handguard and pull out the piston. Alright, so for the bolt carrier group, again, very similar to the AR-15, but there are some differences. If you look on the opposite side here, you have your firing pin, retaining pin. We're just going to use a tool to kind of get that cotter pin out there. And we're just going to pull that straight out. You can't really see, but I'm just pulling it straight out. Comes right out, just like that. We'll set that aside. And the difference between this bolt carrier group and AR-15 is that your firing pin is under spring pressure there. So you do have a firing pin spring in this. We'll just slide that spring off and set it aside. Firing pin, very similar to the AR-15, but as you can see there are some minor differences in the shape, so they're not interchangeable. Alright, and then the cam pin, which is located right here on top. You can just pull that straight out, and make note there's a hole for the firing pin to go through. And the bolt itself, that comes right out as well. And we'll set those aside. That's all we need to do as far as the bolt carrier group disassembly. Alright, so for the handguard, to get this thing off, this one here is the Midwest Industries in the color of RAL 8000. But disassembly for pretty much any of the HK416 or BRN4 handguards is exactly the same. There are flats on the bolt, so you can use a wrench and unscrew it, but we're just going to use a metric number 5 Allen wrench there and unscrew it. And we're just going to unscrew this as far as it'll go, like so. Pull it out as far as it'll go. It is self-retained, so you don't have to worry about losing it. And now we need to remove the handguard. So you can slide it forward. If it's a bit stubborn, you can just take a wood surface like this, hold the handguard, and just tap the muzzle on the table, and it'll come right off. We'll take our handguard and set that aside. Don't need that for this here. Alright, and now we can remove the piston rod assembly and the piston cup. Alright, so what we'll do here, we'll hold the piston cup just like this and pull the rod back away from it. And now we can lift up on the rod, and that's the full assembly right there. You don't need to disassemble this any further. You can just wipe it down, whatever you need to do, no big deal there. We'll set that aside, let it roll around all over the place. Now we can take the piston cup out, and that just comes right out. Just like so. And as you can see, there are some gash rings on there. Those may have to be replaced later down the road, depending on how many rounds you have through it. Same process for changing out those rings on the AR-15, but on the AR-15, they're on the actual bolt, if you're familiar with that. We'll do a video at some point on how to just pull these rings off and put them on. It's super easy. Okay, so we'll just set that aside. And that's it. It's completely field stripped. That's as far as you need to take it apart for regular maintenance. And now we can just kind of go through how to, where to oil it, what you need to wipe down, and then we'll throw it all back together. Alright, so I'm going to grab a rag here. I'll just grab one of these rags. Alright. Alright, so the obvious thing to wipe down is going to be the piston. This piston cup here. If you have a lot of carbon buildup on it, you can use a solvent as well. This one we haven't shot this particular one much, so it's relatively clean. Alright, just be careful when you're wiping it down, because if your rag catches those rings, it'll pull them off and they'll kind of go where they want, so just be careful with that. Alright. And you can also use a Q-tip, whatever, to get in there if you need to, but honestly, not a lot of carbon or anything really gets into that hole, so it's no big deal. Alright, and for the rod, same exact thing, really. You just wipe it down. Use some solvent if there's any stubborn carbon on there. Alright. And really that's it for the piston assembly. You can actually take the block itself and you can get up in there as well. You can use like a cleaning brush, a jag with a patch on it, you know, whatever. It's super easy to get into. There's really not a whole lot of buildup that gets in there because those rings just kind of push everything out. Alright. So that is really all you need to do on the piston assembly. When we reassemble it, I'll show you where to oil it. Alright, and we'll go over to the bolt carrier group with the bolts. And just wipe that down. That's all you need to do. Again, if you have any stubborn carbon on here, which you really shouldn't, unlike the AR-15, because all the carbon, most of the carbon I should say, is going into that piston assembly. So just wipe it down, set it aside. We'll do the same exact thing with the cam pin. We're just wiping everything down here. Firing pin. The spring, which not much you need to do there. Your cotter pin, not much you need to do there. Charging handle, we'll just wipe that down. I'll show you where to lubricate that. And the actual bolt carrier, we'll just wipe that down real good. I just kind of push the rag into where the bolt goes there. If you need to, which honestly on this you really shouldn't. You can take a cleaning patch on a jag and just kind of work it in there. But I usually just take the rag and feed it in like this from a corner. And that does a pretty good job. And that's it. Alright. So let's start reassembling and lubricating here. I'm going to go ahead and put the piston assembly back together first. Alright. So all we need to do is take our piston cup. And I like to take just a little bit of oil. Put it on there. And I'll say this as well. There's a lot of different lubricating preferences, I should say, with this and other firearms. This is how I personally do it. If you do it a little bit different, that doesn't mean you're wrong, alright? But this is how I do it, and it's worked well for me. And then I'll put it back in after I rub some of that oil around. The rod itself, I'll do the same thing. Put a little bit of oil on each end. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. And just kind of rub that around. And if you look here, this is the part where it actually slides, right? So what I'll do, I'll put a little bit of tension on it, hold it, and just put a little bit of oil in there. So you have metal on metal contact. Anytime you have metal on metal contact, it's a good idea to have some lubrication there. Alright, wipe off any of the major excess there. Alright, now we can just take our piston assembly here. If you notice, there's a flat cut right here. You can see it there. We're going to take that flat, that's cut for clearance on the barrel nut. So that's going to go right above that. So we're going to insert into the receiver first. We're going to grab this, let me get stuff out the way, this stainless bushing area here. Push back on that and put the rod into the cup. Alright. Now from here we can throw the handguard back on. We're just going to take it, make sure your bolt's pulled out. Slide it all the way over. Alright. Push your bolts in and tighten it back down. Make sure that's nice and tight. You want to throw a torque wrench on there, you can go to like 45 inch-pounds, that'll be plenty. Alright, and now let's put the bolt carrier group back together. Alright, so we're going to put the bolts in first, but if you notice, there's some areas here that have, this one's not very used, but you can still even see the areas where you would have some metal on metal contact there. Those friction surfaces, as I like to call them. And we'll just rub that oil around. Now we're going to take our bolt carrier and our bolts, insert that bolt. Now, what you want to make sure, you see you have your extractor claw, and then you have your ejector, which is that detent there that's pushing out. You want your ejector towards the left and your extractor claw towards the right. Alright? So we're going to do it just like that. So we got an 11 o'clock there and about a 4 o'clock there. That's what we want. Left and then right. Now we're going to take our cam pin. I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on this before I throw it in. And you notice there's a hole going through it. Your firing pin is going to go through that hole. So that hole needs to be facing front to rear. We're going to insert it through the bolt carrier and through the bolt. Just like so. Alright, and the firing pin, we'll just put a small drop of oil there. We don't want a lot of oil on our firing pin. Take our firing pin spring here, slide that over, just like that. Now, insert the firing pin from the bottom. It's going to go into your bolts, just like that. And it should be nice and springy, just like that, not catching on anything. Now, while holding this firing pin down all the way, compress it. You can get a grip on it just like this. This is a good one. Now we're going to take our retaining pin, this cotter pin here, and we're going to insert it into the hole. And we're going to push it in. Now, if you're having trouble getting this pin in, just a little quick tip here. Sometimes I see people struggle getting this pin in. It doesn't want to go because it's split. All you need to do is take it so that it's facing vertical like this, and if you push down, apply downward pressure, as you push in, it'll go right in, just like that. So I pushed down and then in, and that kind of, because it's a split pin, that kind of forced it to close a little bit for clearance. Alright, and just make sure that's pushed in as far as it'll go, and now everything's nice and together. Okay, so we're going to put our charging handle in first. Where I like to lubricate on these, you see these two wings here. That's what actually lock in and ride in your upper receiver. So that's where I like to put oil. Right there. All sides of it, so bottom, side, top. And that's really all you need to do. You can put a little dot on top right there. Alright. So to get this in your upper receiver, you're just going to set it on top. While applying downward pressure, I'm going to push it forward. And it's going to lock in just like that. So once it drops, push it forward a little bit more, and there you go. It's ready for your bolt carrier. But the bolt carrier is not ready for it, because we hadn't lubricated it yet. So let's do that. Alright, so you notice on the bottom here, you have rails. We're going to lubricate those. We'll put a drop right here on the bottom. That's where it'll kind of ride on your hammer and your lower to reset it and everything. So we'll put some there. And on the top, so there's a rail right here. We'll put some right there. We'll put some right there. And then we'll just put another drop where the piston actually hits the bolt carrier. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, bottom rail, just a little bit. Bottom rail. A little bit there. Top rails. Top rails. And the piston point there. Alright. So now we'll just take this, flip it upside down, drop it into that charging handle, and forward into the upper. And that's all there is to it. Everything's reassembled, lubricated, as it should be. Okay, so if you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them down below. If you need any assistance whatsoever, and I say post it down below, that's for those of you watching on YouTube. If you're watching this on the website, feel free to give us a call on the tech line. We'll be happy to help you out. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.